There was this girl who I was really close to. Every day after school, I'd get home and I'd call her for a few hours. I would spend hours and hours of the week talking to her, like literally all day texting her. She was my best friend. And there was this one time where after a while, we were out together in real life, hanging out with our friend, and something happened. I don't really understand what happened to this day, but basically she got really mad at me. And she started really not responding at all. First she pretended there was nothing wrong for a few weeks. Then she just kept responding less and less and less. And about 2 to 3 months later, I was destroyed, man. Because she hadn't responded to me at all. I knew that I'd lost a friend. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a lot younger, but I would cry at least once a week. At least. I was so devastated. This was my closest friend. And I really, really liked her. I had a huge crush on her. And eventually, I honestly think it took me up to 3 months. Eventually I was just like, fuck. And I gave up. I stopped caring. I got over it. It was really hard for me, man. I really, really, really thought of her as a close friend. But I had to move on. And see, this is where the story gets good, because about a few months ago, I actually bumped into her. And this is a similar thing has been happening for the last year. So all of this problems that we had finished 2-3 years ago. But one day she messaged me and she just sent a huge paragraph. She was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We should have always been close friends. I know I did the wrong thing." But I had enough, because she had done a pretty horrible thing to me. She had just stopped responding, and it really bothered me. And so I did the only logical thing that I could do, and make fun of her every single time she came up to me asking her to react. She literally came up to me. I said, "Oh no, I didn't block you. I forgot that I blocked her." She literally asked me to go through my phone, went through, found her blocked contact, unblocked it. She said, "Oh, you need to message me more, blah, blah, blah." Started yapping. And you see, this is when I realized something. I know that I'm being a bit arrogant now, because she did really hurt me. And then I did get my perfect revenge, I suppose. I just didn't really want to talk to her. I unedited her. She felt really bad. Even though this happened, I feel like something changed. Because for a while, even if after a month or two of her not responding to me, I would have still forgiven her. But after a while, I think I developed something. I'd like to call that self-respect. And that was when, after about 2 months, I'm pretty sure, I was just like, fuck this girl. And I unedited her, and I never worried about her again. In my mind, I always cared about her. I suppose you could say I loved her, but I always really cared about her. But in my mind, I knew I'll never ever forgive this person, because what they've done is not okay. And that's what I call self-respect. And I feel like self-respect is something that if you don't have, you're not going to make any good friends. I didn't have self-respect for a while, and this girl was just stopped being friends with me. I can guarantee that if I had self-respect sooner, this same thing wouldn't have happened. I just know, because I wouldn't have cared for as long. There was actually a recent time, pretty recent, where there was this girl that I was with, and I have this self-respect now, and I just didn't feel like my relationship with her was working. So I broke it off. I feel like I changed so much as a person from when I struggled for months and months to this relationship recently, where I had the self-respect to message her saying, "I gotta cut this all off." Now you might be wondering, where do you get this feeling from? How do you get this confidence? And I feel like I have a few things to help you with that. But before I rip into it, bro, go subscribe to my YouTube. Click the subscribe button right now, and click the Instagram link to go follow me if you want. If you want, I don't really care. It's your choice. But the way that I feel, one of the reasons I feel I developed better self-confidence, self-respect, was when there was this guy, and after a while, we would see each other at school all the time. I would see him at school all the time, but only after a year and a half of being at that school did I start putting in effort to try and speak to him, etc. And over time, I never really pushed too hard. I never really put too much pressure on him. But over time, I started to become a lot closer with him. And not only did I get closer with him, but one day he told me that I'd changed as a person, that I'd become different. And I don't know if I've said this in this video, but there basically was a time in school where I didn't feel like I fit in for a long time. And I started to go out and just try and make as many friends as possible. But I was on that path and I'd changed as a person definitely, but I didn't view myself as that different. Until one day this guy said to me, he said, "You've changed. You're nothing like you used to be." And I kept telling him about, because he knew me for a while. He knew the things that I was going through. And I was like, "Oh, people aren't treating me well." He said, "You've changed. You're not the same person anymore, and people aren't going to treat you the same anymore." And this guy gave me this confidence that I was good enough, this self-respect that I needed. And I finally stopped pushing and trying to make friends with everybody because I was already comfortable in myself. I knew that I didn't need to become friends with everybody for me to be worthwhile as a person. I feel like you need somebody to get this confidence from. I feel like everybody gets this confidence from somebody, and it might even just be your parents. For me, that wasn't enough to fill like my personal insecurity. That's just the way I was. Like, my parents were they've always been very loving towards me. But that wasn't enough to make me feel confident about myself. But I feel like that is enough for most people. If you don't have that from your parents, it's all right. Not everybody has. Some people just get unlucky, don't get super kind parents. I know this personally. I have friends whose parents haven't always treated them the best, etc. Or they haven't felt loved by their parents. And I think that is actually more common than anybody realizes. But in that case, you want to have a solution, right? And I think that if you just try and become a super good person, super hardworking, eventually you will meet somebody who shows you that you're good enough. This is really confusing, but I feel like if you put in the right actions and you exercise a lot, you sleep well, you work on your mental health, you become happy in yourself, eventually you just start reflecting that outwards. And when you reflect it outwards, you might meet somebody who tells you that. And that's when it's such a complicated process, isn't it? It's such a hard thing to finally get over any insecurity, to finally get that self-respect, to feel like you're worthwhile. And honestly, it's really hard to give advice on how to go from 0 to 100. So if you really want some personal help, just message me on my Instagram. Subscribe for now. There's way more videos that can help you. My goal for the end of the year, I want to help as many people get over loneliness and feel like they're worth enough, and make a couple really good friends they can spend a lot of time with, and make them feel better about themselves. That's my biggest goal for the year. So if you want help with that, subscribe, message me on Instagram. I hope you have a great day, bro. I've got nothing else to say in the video.